Good morning or afternoon to you, depending on where you're watching. I am Betya, back with another episode after a few weeks off of props to consider and then maybe bet for UFC Vegas 60, Sandhagen versus Song. If you've ever watched the show before, this isn't about minus 120 kind of props. I'm looking for high-end Lambo-esque plays for this card. If you could, before we start, please like the video. Please subscribe to the McMahon channel if you haven't already. Great DFS and gambling content here and some fighter interviews. DFS by the numbers, Uncle Weezy, Monk Petition, and myself trying to give you guys week after week the best content we can for each card. So that being said, you're not here for any of that. Let's get to the props. I don't have a ton on this card. There are some fights I like. For the full breakdowns, tune in tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, when Monk and I will go live. His best plays from a DFS perspective, mine from a betting perspective of each fight, along with some of the props that I'm going to be doing and how I'm attacking the card. But these are the props that I have found as of right now for Saturday's card. Again, I'm only attacking 4 fights at this moment. There's no yam bag play. Very sorry. But let's get to what I have so far. So the first fight, Tony Gravely against Javid, the Snow Leopard, Basharat. Basharat is a small favorite here. I know that Gravely is leaps and bounds better than anybody he's faced. I'm not going to break down the entire fight for you right now. I do think that Basharat's going to be incredibly competitive on the feet. He's going to use his distance well. Gravely, the big knock I have on him, he does put himself in trouble, especially on transitions in the ground. So I'm going to make a play that maybe it's a little bit of a feeling out period in the first round. And at some point, Basharat takes over. I don't love Gravely's cardio. And like I said, he does tend to make mistakes. He's pretty heavy on top. But if Basharat can mind his P's and Q's, I think he can have favorable grappling positions and eventually get a submission. So FanDuel typically will have a round 2, round 3 combo play. I'd look at that. But for now, I didn't see it. So on DraftKings, the round 2 sub for Basharat plus 1,000, round 3 sub plus 1,800. Taking a poke on both. Not a horrible play here. In typical Lou fashion, I would say if you have to pick one, take the round 3 sub. It does pay more. But I do think that Basharat can get him out of there late. One play that's not listed on here is Gravely round 1 KO. I do think it's live, but I really do favor Basharat in this fight. So I'm going to go with his sub props. Unless it's a ground and pound, I don't see him getting a knockout here. So sub or decision seems to be his paths, and I'm going to play the late round props here. All right, next fight, and this one's going to bite me in the ass so bad, but Aspen Ladd taking on Sarah McMahon. McMahon coming off a very nice win against Carol Hosa. Aspen Ladd has been a little disappointing of late. So why am I picking Aspen Ladd round 3 here? Well, I'm not going to have a straight bet on this fight. Aspen Ladd has disappointed me in the past in some spots. But there's 2 factors here as to why I'm leaning at her round 3 prop. Number one, McMahon is 41 years old. Not saying there's anything wrong with being in your 40s, but if you're a professional fighter in the UFC, being in your 40s is kind of detrimental to your health. But I do like her skill set, and I think most of this fight will take place in the grappling exchanges. The reason I like Ladd round 3 so much is that if you look at her losses to Dumont, you look at the Pennington losses, she comes out of the gate kind of slow, looking a little bit lost, but her coaches, despite how they yelled at her during the Dumont fight, are able to get some kind of urgency out of her late in fights. It's typically too late, but she's had a lot of urgency in the Dumont fight really late. She came on, it was too late again, but very strongly late, and was never in danger of getting a finish. But the Pennington fight, I thought, again, she looked pretty strong late. She does have finishes in her career, so I'm going to take a flyer on Aspen Ladd I don't see McMahon getting her out of there anyway. So McMahon's path, I believe, is decision. You're really not getting much of a boost to take McMahon's decision here. So if Ladd's still in that fight in the 3rd round, which I believe she is 90 to 95% of the time, you're playing in McMahon's age, that it's going to be grapple heavy. McMahon did tire against Hosa round 3. So give me Ladd to come on strong. I would have loved a better price here. I'm not going to lie. Plus 1,200 for a round 3 props. Not great for a slight favorite, but I feel like if you are going to play this fight, McMahon is probably the side to win rounds 1 and 2, but I can't not look at this lad 3 prop and take a little sprinkle on it. All right, next. Another a meme fight in a sense. Trevin Giles taking on Louis Kosei. We haven't seen Kosei in a while, and the last 2 times we've seen Giles, he has been clobbered and KO'd. I'm going to be big on the under as one of my prime plays on the slate. I don't know how this fight goes the distance. I'm not even sure this fight really gets to the 3rd round with the way they fight. Kosei round 1 KO at plus 900 is intriguing. And the reason it's intriguing to me is that Kosei, I think we know what we're getting out of both guys at this point. And Kosei is going to know, Giles, again, he's coming off getting KO'd twice, that his strategy is going to be to blitz forward and either chuck him down and try to get a ground and pound win, or just go right for the chin that's been compromised the last 2 fights. I can't say that I like Kosei to win this fight out of the 1st round. So if you like Giles live or you like him round 2, that's fine. But I think Kosei has a very good chance of just running across the cage and knocking him out. And I don't even hate the under half a round here, but I think the plus 900 on the Kosei round 1 KO is good. I think this result probably happens 1 out of 5 times, especially now that Giles, he's 7 months removed from his KO, but, it was 2 KOs in 4 months. So there's a mental aspect here, and I think Kosei's camp will have him ready for that. So give me Kosei to get it done early at plus 900. Last fight on the slate that I'm looking at, Andre Touchy-Fili against King of Prussia's own Bill Algeo. This is a tricky fight. Algeo being a slight underdog at plus 110 is a side that I'm looking at. I know that there's people making the argument that this is a good buy low spot on Fili, and I understand that coming off an absolutely horrific loss to Joanderson Brito. This fight's not going to play out anything like that. Algeo does not have that kind of power, but his cardio is really good. And if you watch Fili in some of his fights, I know Algeo gets taken down a lot. I know Fili has takedowns in his back pocket, but he doesn't really use them well. And I also don't think it's advantageous for him to be in a lot of grappling exchanges. I think for him, he's going to want this fight on the feet. The way Algeo fights, he doesn't care where the fight is. He's fine getting taken down and fighting off his back, looking for sweeps, looking to get on top. He's fine being a dog late in the round. His cardio is excellent. He's fine just throwing punches for 15 minutes also. Algeo's fought pretty good competition in his run so far. They both have. I feel he has the edge in the strength schedule, but Algeo's going to slouch there. So I'm looking at this fight being interesting in that Fili's going to probably get takedowns early, and Algeo's going to get taken down. I don't know how much Fili's going to do with these takedowns. When Algeo is on top, I think he's going to be the bigger minute winner in the grappling exchanges. But I think the longer this fight goes on the feet, Fili's probably going to land a lot of jabs. The kicks are going to be there. And I think he will win minutes on the feet, at least for the first 2 rounds. When the 3rd round comes around, I like Algeo's cardio. He got that dog in him. I think Algeo can take over late and win the 3rd round decisively. So it's going to come down to how those first 2 rounds go, how they look at Fili getting takedowns, if he's doing damage with leg kicks. Algeo is going to be coming forward. So, in these really close rounds, sometimes the optics of the Algeo stalking him could play well to the judges. But I think this fight's going to go the decision route 9 out of 10 times. Algeo is not a big finisher. I mean, Burns hurt himself for Algeo's last fight when he got the finish. And Fili's not a tremendous finisher on the UFC level either. So they're both pretty durable, notwithstanding Fili's last fight. They're both durable guys. I do see it going decision 9 out of 10 times. And I just think it's going to be weirdly scored here. If you're giving me a split decision prop at plus 800 with 2 guys that are basically a pick 'em, I'm going to probably be on both sides of this. For reference, Fili's is 700. I know my guy, Tim Troiano, he loves these kind of bets. He likes betting the fight to end in split decision and then take a fighter's side so you get that double up. I love that strategy as well. I'll be betting this fight to end in split decision to cover my bases. but I do like Algeo to get the win here, advance his career a little bit. I think the third round's going to be so decisive that really you're just hoping for a really sweaty first or second round either way, which I think we're going to get. Probably the second round is going to be the closest round of the fight. So give me Bill Algeo split decision plus 800. That is all I have for the props for UFC Vegas 60. There are, like I said, I'm going to be on tomorrow with my guy Monk talking about the spots I like the most. It's a little juice heavy. Guys like Zellhuber, some of these under 2.5s are minus 160, 170 range. I do like them in some two-team parlays, but in terms of the props, this is what I have right now. I always post what I'm doing on Twitter, either fight day or the night before, and I will most likely add a few more, but they may not be any higher than like the plus 200 range. I will post them and let you guys know. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck this weekend, and thank you for tuning in to Props to Consider and then maybe bet.